Diplomacy is the art of countries talking to each other. It's how they solve problems and make agreements without fighting. Good diplomacy requires many skills. One of the most important is logic. Logic is a way of thinking clearly and making sensible decisions. It helps countries understand each other and find common ground. There are two main types of logic used in diplomacy: deductive and inductive. Both are valuable tools for diplomats. They help to build agreements that are fair and beneficial for all sides. In this essay, we will explore how these types of logic are employed in the world of international relations. Deductive reasoning in diplomacy starts with a broad, agreed-upon principle. From this starting point, countries work downwards to create specific rules. Think of it like building a house, starting with the blueprint before laying the bricks. One example is the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, or NPT. This treaty begins with the shared goal of preventing nuclear war. This goal is based on the understanding that nuclear weapons are incredibly destructive. No one wins a nuclear war. From this shared starting point, the NPT establishes specific rules. Countries without nuclear weapons agree not to build them. Countries with nuclear weapons agree to reduce their arsenals. This shared understanding forms the basis of a safer world. Deductive reasoning is powerful, but it has limitations. Not all countries agree on basic principles. Cultural differences or historical conflicts can make it hard to find common ground. For example, the issue of human rights often faces challenges in deductive reasoning. While many countries agree on the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, interpretations and applications of these rights vary widely. When countries have different values, it becomes hard to agree on the starting point. This can lead to disagreements and stalled negotiations. It highlights the need for flexibility and understanding in diplomatic discussions. Section 4, Diplomacy by Induction, Building Consensus from the Ground Up. Inductive reasoning takes a different approach. It starts with specific observations and examples. By looking at many cases, diplomats try to find general patterns. These patterns can then form the basis of international agreements. The Paris Agreement on climate change is a good example of inductive reasoning. Scientists observed rising global temperatures and linked them to human activity. This observation led to a shared understanding. Climate change is real, human-caused, and a threat to everyone. The Paris Agreement doesn't start with a grand vision like the NPT. Instead, it focuses on practical steps, reducing greenhouse gas emissions, investing in clean energy, and helping developing countries adapt. It's a bottom-up approach to solving a global problem. Section 5. The Challenges of Induction, a House of Cards. Inductive reasoning also has challenges. It can be difficult to get all countries to agree on the meaning of specific events. What seems like a clear pattern to one country might look different to another. For instance, the issue of intervention in another country's internal affairs often sparks debate. While some might view it as necessary to prevent human rights abuses, others might see it as a violation of sovereignty. This difference in interpretation can make it hard to build lasting agreements. What one country sees as a necessary intervention, another might see it as an act of aggression. This highlights the need for clear communication and a willingness to understand different viewpoints. Section 6. The Best of Both Worlds, Combining Logic for Diplomatic Success. Deductive and inductive reasoning are most powerful when used together. Deduction provides the framework, the big picture principles. Induction fills in the details with practical examples and observations. This combined approach leads to agreements that are both ambitious and achievable. For example, the creation of the United Nations combined both top-down and bottom-up approaches. The horrors of World War II provided the overarching goal preventing future conflicts. This deductive reasoning established the UN's purpose. However, the UN's structure with its various bodies and agencies was shaped by the specific needs and challenges of the time. This inductive approach ensured the UN could address real-world issues effectively. By combining both logic types, countries can create a more peaceful and prosperous world. It requires careful listening, clear thinking, and a willingness to find common ground. These are the hallmarks of effective diplomacy.